Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to NexPro TV, an entrepreneurial and business mindset show. And we are excited to be with you here today. We have an incredible show. We have a special show for you today with a couple of amazing guests. And our focus today is going to be on women in business. So without further ado, my name is Deb Hult. I am co-founder of NexPro TV. I am co-founder, CEO of Core Trainings, a nationally recognized organization where we speak, teach, and train relational leadership. And it is my pleasure to be here with you today with these two amazing women. I want them to take a moment. They're going to be humble, but I want them to take a moment and introduce themselves. And then we're going to dive in a little bit and just some nuts and bolts about running a business, a woman in business, and all the positive things that go with that. So without further ado, again, if we could have, let's go ahead and have Alisa, if you could just introduce yourself. Alisa Whyte, she's amazing, but if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, like who are you, where are you from, and what is it that you do?
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled about this show. My name is Alisa Whyte. I am here in Arizona. And I am the founder and CEO of Fulfillment Empowerment Network, which is a network of professionals that provide personal and business solutions that would help individuals improve their lives. We specialize in leadership and human development and human rights advocacy. Also, I am blessed to be a part of this great team at NexPro TV that's providing education, knowledge, and just an interesting set of thought-provoking conversations to enlighten you in leadership, business, and your mindset development. So I am thrilled. I'm also a speaker, trainer, and coach that gets the opportunity to do that globally. And I'm just here to serve.
And she's being humble because she has another list of all the things that she does. And so we won't have time today to do that.
No.
We don't want to, keep going and going and going. We're going to leave you hungry. I'm sure we'll do some more additions. And so also with us, we have my friend, Evelyn. And if you could take a moment, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, and what is it that you do?
All right, thank you. My name is Evelyn Haruna. I'm from Nigeria, and I'm a computer professional. I'm a social entrepreneur and a UN Global Champion for Women's Economic Empowerment at Empower Women. I'm also the founder of She Lives International, where we help small business women and nano business women. We just give them all the training, the support, and whatever kind of financing we can lay our hands on to support their businesses. And I'm an entrepreneur, so I have a few other businesses here and there, but I'm also working on a startup which we will be launching in September. It's called Earlyphonics, and we have a whole bouquet of products there. We use smart algorithms to build products that help children learn to read, write, and build a very strong vocabulary. So yeah, that's really what I am all about.
And I will repeat, Evelyn has a list this long as well, and she's being very humble. And I'm going to highly recommend that both of these women, you follow them on their social media and get a bigger picture of what it is and what they actually do represent. And so thank you for being here. They both have amazing hearts. And so, so today, being that, we are focusing on women, and with that being said, on a positive mindset, we want to talk a little bit about not only, some whys, but also surrounding yourself with other influential, powerful women without being a scarcity mindset, without, comparing, and without having envy that, oh, well, they're better at this than I am. And so some of the things that we're going to talk about should support how you get away from that. And so, so we're excited to talk to you a little bit about just surrounding yourself with people who are going places. And today we're going to be specific on women because, again, I get the pleasure of working with these two ladies on a regular basis. So I have a question. And so I want to back up a little bit and talk, because we are talking about business and entrepreneurs, and clearly these ladies do more than 4 things. And so, with their businesses, but when did you know, like, I want to know, like, when did you know that you wanted to have your own business? When did you know that, you know what, that's right, I'm going for it? Or did it just kind of happen, flow into it? Or maybe it was when you were 9, Alisa, and you realized that, I don't know, it's just in my DNA. So, so Alisa, if you could share with us first, like, when did you know that you wanted to have your own business?
So as a woman, thank you for that awesome question. And I'm going to make it as brief as possible, right? As a woman growing up in a lesser developed country, I feel like I was just filled with so much ambition and hope. And I always talk about me having this dream for world peace and healing hearts and minds and even bodies. And so when your parents are, my dad told my mom she couldn't work. And so I understood that very early, and it was annoying to me at a very young age. So guess what? I was like, I'm going to be my own boss. No one's going to tell me. And so, but the need is what really pushed me in the trajectory of entrepreneurship. And I tell the story of me and my sister and I selling icicles is what we call it, but it's like a freeze pop to be able to do extracurricular activities like go to our regular summer camp. I still miss summer camp.
Don't we all, right? Like, I think we need to have adult summer camps.
Listen,
We're doing it.
I tell you ladies what I've been dreaming and planning up here over here in my own mind and brain.
Why people need to
we're gonna have a call on that, and
Mhm.
it's gonna be an exclusive one. But wait, I'll tell you. But so that need came with the freeze pops, like you said. It's like a lemonade stand in America,
Yeah.
and I love seeing children do it. I always stop. I never drink the lemonade because who knows.
Yeah, but you gotta stop.
I always donate. I always have to because
stop.
I just see exactly. And so it started there, and then officially at 17, the need looking for employment in Guyana and not being able to find a job. I gotta work, and I mean, I have to work, and I have to go to college and in university at the same time. So I was asked to tutor students, and it just, the number grew, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I need a blackboard, I need desk, I need table and chair, I actually need a building. And so we started literally, I became with my mom's sister and some very good friends who I would always honor, love, and respect, help us build our building, and then people donated to help me get the blackboard and all that. And so that was birthed, grew, I mean, in the summer, over 100+ students.
In case they missed it, she grew up in Guyana, South America. So
yes, it was once British Guyana if you're looking for it, but it's the Republic of Guyana, South America. And so that's a third world country. And I think it's so important to point that out, because a lot of, as you guys know, we have our youth entrepreneurship training program we've been doing. And I always say the circumstances that my entrepreneurship journey and my business was birthed out of is no different than what we deal with now in lesser developing countries, and even there in the US. It was birthed literally out of nothing. I used whatever brain power I had, and I was bringing children into my home and tutoring them. And then I got training after, official training, and more materials, and then a building, and then hiring staff, and it grew. But you start now. And so that's the mission is, you have a vision, get on it.
You gotta start. Like, don't overthink it. Do something, right?
Now, today.
Now, today. Did you hear that? Today, not tomorrow. Today. So awesome.
That's where it all started for me, and it's been I call myself a workingpreneur. When I started my business here in the US, I still have full-time employment, and really intended to just train and speak a little, as I know what my ultimate vision and goal is, but it blew up very quickly, you guys knew. And so just being willing to do your thing is where,
take that first step.
yeah,
awesome. And you can see her passion for kids and youth and all of that, and so thank you for sharing. We appreciate that. And so I know Evelyn is like sitting there going, I'm ready, I want to share.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah.
And so Evelyn, the same thing is, when did you know? Like, when did you know?
For me, it was at at some point in my life, when I was going for higher education, I had to take a part-time job. And then I got into sales at a furniture company. And it was while I was doing sales, I just kind of liked the whole idea. In sales, I was a full-time staff, really. I wasn't a commissioned or anything. I was a full-time staff. But in the years I worked in that industry, I literally saw people coming from their villages unable to speak English. You couldn't send them, you couldn't ask them, help me check this at the bank, because they knew nowhere. And in a year, 2 years, I could really see that these people were making a difference. Like their whole situation had turned around, they had started building their own businesses. And I kind of liked the whole idea. So I thought, well, I just had to learn the ropes. I just had to learn this thing. And it wasn't in my DNA, really. If you come to my house, you will see where I pack my business books. I tell you that it's bigger than where I pack my clothes. Like, it's bigger than my the closet for my clothes. And in the last few years, really, we've turned to ebooks. So I really don't get to buy those hard copies. So my bookshelf has practically stopped growing. But for me, I literally learned everything from negotiating to writing sales letters to prospecting. I learned everything. And it wasn't a natural thing. It was a conscious decision, because I came from a civil servant kind of background. My both parents were civil servants. And before I got into that business arena, there was nobody close to me till then who had sold anything. Like, all my life, I had gone to the farm. I had done some kind of really hard jobs, really. But when it comes to like literally selling something, I had sold nothing up until then. But I just knew that I wanted this thing, and I just had to learn it, whatever it took. So I started subscribing to business newspapers, reading books. And really, that was the last job I took, because from there, I just went on and I said, okay, I went to freelancing. I started freelancing with them as a marketer. And then I completely went on my own and started my own furniture business. And that was it, really.
Awesome, Evelyn. And so I think you heard a pattern here. It's like, do something. Like, when you have that feeling, when you know, the difference is having that courage to step out and do something. Then you're going to find out, well, you might pivot down different avenues as you're doing something, and then that's when you're going to find out those, the passion is either going to build or it's going to start depleting, and you'll be like, okay, where else? And keep doing something. So as you were going through and whether it was starting at 9 years old and the desire to have this freedom and all of that. So I'm going to guess that there have been people in your lives that have inspired you both personally and professionally. And so I'm going to ask you, probably put you on the spot a little bit, but like, who is somebody who has personally inspired you to keep moving forward, to build your business, to make the difference that you all do now? Because I know it wasn't easy when we all started, right? But who is somebody who has inspired you personally, and what are some of the characteristics that they had that actually drew out the best in you? And I know we can all say Oprah, right? We've got this big sphere of influence in the world market here. But I want to know personally, in your everyday living, who is somebody that has inspired you? And more importantly, what were the characteristics that they have that just seem to just draw out of you? Give us a little wisdom on that, and I'm going to let you all decide who's going to go first on that one, because I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. And so rock, paper, scissors. And so go ahead, take it away. One of you can decide who's going to go first.
I pick Evelyn.
Evelyn, you got picked. You win the rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, okay, me. Yeah. For me, really, it changes. Like, I would love to mention like this big one giant figure that inspires me in everything. But the truth is, it changes with time. Like at the moment, I've been following closely with Sarah Blake's. I kind of like her. She founded Spanx, and she, just like me, she said she was working in sales. She was selling copiers, and At some point, she wanted an underwear that would fit her, and you know, she just pursued that dream, and she built an empire. She built a complete empire around that dream. So yeah, I really love her. She's been running some master classes lately, and I keep telling myself I would enroll and kind of get to really see what drove her to the point where she's gotten now. But there's also this kind of funny, weird inspiration that I get from time to time, and I happen to work with women here, and you know, you see these women, they are tenacious. Like, they don't have, by the world standard, by what you want to see, I don't know, you really can't, they don't speak the right English, they don't have the right education, they don't have the right capital, but you really see them, they are I don't know, I'm beginning to lack words to express it, but you see, when it comes to like putting food on the table for their children, you see these women, they go all out. You see, come rain, come shine. I wish I had a picture of it. I come out every day and I see these women, some of them with a huge baby on the back, a heavy weight on their head, and they're hawking. And I tell myself, man, if these women are still pursuing their dreams under these conditions, I mean, it will be really foolish of me to say, to not, you know, to not go after my dream. So yeah, and there's the Sarah Blakes I've been following right now, but there are also this clique of women that I see every day, and each time I see them, I tell myself that you have no reason not to follow your dreams. You have no reason not to like build what it is you say you want to build, because a lot of people have to really work against a lot more odds, and they're still building their dreams. They're still trying to make things happen for themselves. So yeah, in terms of inspiration, I have Sarah Blake's of Spanx I've been following lately, and there are these small women. I don't really want to call them small, but they are this set of women I work closely with, and they inspire me a lot.
Well, thank you for going from one to the other, that big, you know, curve that we can get caught up in, and then bringing it right into our everyday living, because that's where we're going to get inspired every day, right? It's great to have these podcasts and to watch the show. But then when it sounds like you're very aware of your surroundings, and that also you're obviously very grateful, and that you obviously also have the gift of empathy, because you can look at somebody and focus on, wow, look what they can do. Because it's so easy for us to, and we're all really good at focusing what people can't do, what they're not good at, and what they don't have. And then we can judge like, oh my gosh, she must have it made. And we also know everybody's facing a battle you know nothing about. And that mindset is so powerful when you can, it's not weak to come from a heart of gratitude. It is attractive to come from a heart of gratitude, and to not judge and compare. And we're always going to judge a little bit. That's kind of in our DNA, for a protection thing, but to have the mindset. So I know Alisa is like, I gotta talk. I'm ready to go. So I don't want to keep her from sharing with us as far as, you know, who has empowered you, who's brought out your superpowers in your own world. What are some of those characteristics? And again, on an everyday level, living level. That's a tongue twister.
Deb, so you got between you and Evelyn on this particular question, you're just gonna make me ugly cry right in front of this camera.
I don't think you can be ugly and cry. I think you cry pretty, just like Carrie Underwood's song.
Okay, cry pretty. Okay. Well, whatever it looks like, it's just whatever it's going to be. But when you ask that question, you know, there's so much, like Evelyn said, she's inspired by the women she get to work and serve with, and inspire herself. I am obviously, ever since I was a child, I think I'm always looking for inspiration and motivation throughout my life. I think it was my way of protecting myself and ignoring whatever was happening in my environment. But I'd have to say my mother, her name is Joy Lynn. And I think that question comes And I could not find a better person here in the spot to say my constant day one till now inspiration unstoppably. Um, the characteristics. My mom overcame, she lost her mom when she was about 3.5, 4 years old. And she had other siblings. And so obviously she had two brothers and four other sisters. So of course I come from an amazing line of powerhouse women who do not stop at nothing. And there's no limit. And my mom and collectively with my aunts, they've always told me that I can be whatever it is I desire to be. And I know that's such a cliche phrase,
But it's
but
so
I didn't watch
true.
enough TV to hear it and know that they used it for the US Army, which is perfect, even better. They always told me that. And they always said, and I even put it in my book, that my mom said, whatever it is you desire to be, put it in the hands of God and do it with kindness, honesty, truth. Show up the way you want people to address you. And my mom told me these things growing up very early. She told us, and she lived it. My mother, if I said earlier, my dad did not want her to be employed. And I was born the year after my parents got married. So she didn't work all those years until she became a single parent. And instead of getting employed, my mother started her own business. And so many lies. As an educator, she taught so many. And that was what was the catalyst for me starting my own business at 17. She started her preschool in the living room. We transformed the thing 5 days per week into a full classroom. And then on the weekends, we made it a nice, cozy living room and had youth and pastors and ministers come and eat and spend time with us. And then at 9 at night on Sunday, we flipped it again into a preschool classroom. And I get to watch my mom, who was told she had to stay at home and raise her kids, which she would not take those years back of nurturing us, the three of us, my brother and my sister. But she spun into superwoman mode, became an entrepreneur, is an educator, church leader, youth leader, Sunday school leader, and she just gives with so much heart. Our home was a place where anyone could come and not just get food for the tummy or the belly, but also food for the soul. And many can testify to that. And so I was watching her. She forgave people who stole thousands from her. She forgives women who lied about her, who created havoc, and she forgive them and loved and nurture them. And so that level of compassion, I have this quote that I wrote, and it came from that environment. There has never been a better time than the present for empowered women to lead, women who are aware of themselves, know their purpose, and lead from a place of authenticity and compassion. And that is what I saw in my mom, authenticity. She did not mince her words, but she was so compassionate, forgiving, loving, and she stood no matter what. And so that, my dear, is what keeps me. And she's my mom. I lost my dad 2 years ago. My mom's still alive, and we cherish her. And I always say, because she is, I am. And so that's where my inspiration comes from all through these years. And then I get to work and serve with courageous women like you both. I mean, we've been working more closely together. God has just blessed me with the opportunity to meet and connect spiritually, emotionally. Our stories and our paths are so similar. And we are becoming a team of powerhouse women. I'm telling you, South Africa, I just met a sister, another incredible woman. And Deb and we just connected with Anu Krishna from India. Power. And just look, let me tell you, ladies, real quick, I'm gonna wrap this up, I swear. I met Evelyn. She Leaps organization. She hosts a global award, and I didn't know who she was. I was one of the finalists and got the way she does it is the masses votes. And the masses vote, I won an award. And when I sat in the award ceremony and I watched the meticulous dedication of Evelyn Arana, I said, I want to know who she is. I told her, I said, I don't know what you're doing over there in Nigeria, but I want to follow you. And she's like, no, I want to follow you. And I'm like, let's stop arguing. We're going to get together. And so she jumped on board just like Deb. Oh my gosh, you all, we have put together this program for the youth in Ghana, and it's such a big deal, but it's been the most, bet for me, best kept secret. I don't talk a lot about it on social media, not yet.
Not
Because
yet.
the sanctity and the beauty of it is the intimacy that, and the we call it the think tank, and it's so beautiful. But that was such a trying program to give birth to. And then there were so many crazy things happening. We had so many people who wanted to be a part, but didn't eventually stay and be a part. Deb stood by my side and never left. And then here comes Evelyn. She jumps on the day she just wanted to visit to see, because we want to do the same thing in Nigeria for specifically for women. She took on a leadership role because I threw it at her and she's like, I'm there. And she shows up and adds so much value. And so we started forming a team organically out of pure compassion and love to serve and build and uplift others. And that's what you do in your own businesses and your own personal lives, which is exactly what my mom taught me. So I am so glad. My friend was teaching me this concept of familiar spirits. Well, I guess being birded out of Joylyn Harding gave me that familiar spirit to bring other powerful women and allow myself to lock arms so I can be great and you can be great and we all can be great in what we were created to do. Oh, I'm going to shut up now.
Yeah, no, don't keep going, girl. No, that was just beautifully. And if you didn't get the power and the passion in that, you need to hit rewind or something. I don't know, and watch it 10 more times or what have you. But and thank you for being vulnerable and sharing a little bit. And we can cry, right? We're strong women, and just because we cry does not mean, and just because we're vulnerable does not mean that we're weak. But I want to go back to, before we wrap up our show today, and just a few things that both of you talked about. And first, Alisa, you talked about that authenticity, right? And that's my jam. Like I will, one of my favorite sayings, and I'll give Mark Cole the credit because I think he said it first when I heard it. And that is, authenticity has no competition. Okay. If you authentically, and people know, like we know when it's not, like Evelyn says, when she's out on the street, she authentically just can tell the power and the compassion, whatever it is that you do. The one thing that we are all gifted as women is that intuition.
Yes.
We know.
And we need to use it.
And you definitely need to pay attention to it. And that's not to be mean or whatnot, but that's how we align ourselves. And because Evelyn, you mentioned earlier also that, there's seasons, right? People are going to come in and out of your life. I met Alisa not that long ago, and there's part of me that wants to say, dang, where were you 10 years ago? But I didn't need her then.
Right.
We
weren't ready for this.
I wasn't ready for this.
I wasn't ready.
And that's by continuing to put yourself out there, because we can also all tell you that we have all had our moments, but we probably quit for a moment.
Yeah, true.
But it happened.
It happens. But again, that resiliency, right? Fall down 7, you get up 8. But that's hard to do on your own. So this leads into my last, oh my God, now I'm going to get going here. But this leads into my last, share with us, how do we get to that point of owning who we are, our authenticity of who we are, who we're meant to be, because, you talked about showing up. Like when you show up, how is it that you want people to treat you? How is it you want them to respect you? And I'm a classic recipient of moms like Alisa's. Alisa has had her mom and very, very passionate about that opportunity. And like Alisa's mom lost her mom, I lost my mom when I was 7, and so I never had that. That influence in my life as a mom that, was that powerhouse, but I had other friends' moms that looked out for me and other women who would pat me on the back. So how is it that you, I guess my question is this, can you give us 1 or 2 tips on how do you align yourself so that you focus on other women and not come from envy, not come from jealousy and comparison, but to authentically, wow, she is amazing at this, and honor that with grace versus being envious? How do you get there?
Well, for me, it's all about knowing what you want and really going out for it. Like when you're consciously building your dreams, like when you know what, like, okay, this is the goal, and you're consciously going out and pursuing this goal, when you're not stagnant or when you don't feel stagnated. Yeah, at the point you just feel like I'm not achieving that goal at the rate at which I want it, but that's completely different from inaction. What breeds envy? It's a state of inaction. Once you give up on your dreams, then the moment you see someone else fulfilling their dreams, you get to feel jealous. But if you're consciously working on your dream and you see someone else achieve, like, okay, this person has achieved already, instead of feeling envious, that becomes more like an inspiration. That becomes more like one more reason to go for it, one more reason to stay up at night, one more reason. You get the point I'm trying to make. But then when we are at a point where, like, we say, I throw in the towel, I'm done, or let's go think of something else, then envy just becomes the natural option. Then you begin to make excuses, then you begin to rationalize, then you begin to say, well, they come from developed countries, well, the president of my country is bad, well, I'm in a bad marriage, well, I don't have the right qualifications. But once you put yourself in that achievement move, in that mood, like in the mode of, like, I'm pursuing my dreams, I'm doing something, then it's just at that point you now begin to see somebody and say, well, I like the way this person goes about pursuing her dreams. I'm not so much of a social media kind of person, but whenever I'm on social media, I have these key people that inspire me a lot. And when I'm down, when I'm tired, when I just feel like just rest, or I wake up and I'm still feeling sleepy, then I go on social media, then I see this, I see that, and I say, yeah, that's one more reason. All of a sudden, the sleep is gone, the stress is gone, and I stay focused again. So I just believe that once you put yourself in that action mode, like you're literally doing something about what it is you're trying to do, there's no space for envy. It's all about who can help me get there faster, on whose shoulders can I climb, who can I lock arms with, who can we do this together. For me, that's just the way I see it. It's all a matter of keep going. It's all a matter of however tired you are, however much you feel like that's the end of the road. Don't just stop, just keep at it, and you'll see that it just happens naturally. Everybody becomes a source of inspiration.
And I love 2 things that you said right there, Evelyn, and that was, because earlier, if you remember earlier, we said, you've got to just put yourself out there. You've got to step out. You've got to do, right? And she made a point where envy is an action. So be mindful of, if you step out there and do that, envy is going to deplete you. That's an action. And so also put yourself out there for an achievement and to look for the good. That's an action. So brilliant. So thank you. Love that. And then Alisa, you're going to wrap it up for us. I just know it. Go, girl.
Always give me the easy task. So recently in social media, I posted, a flower doesn't think of competing against the flower next to it. It just blooms. And so many times the symbol of womanhood is that of a flower. And there are different kinds of flowers. And so people just think of us as that gentle, fragile thing when we're compared to a flower. But let's look at the flower just the way you were asking, like, how do you stay away from the petty and the competitiveness of the world? And I'll say this, there are men competing with women and blah, 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 whatever. We don't feed that energy like Ev. So she's exemplified that. It's like, okay, who's here that I can help and they can help me and we can get there faster. There's this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go further, go together. little shorty over here. My mission and my vision and my dream is outrageously bigger than me from day one. Obviously, I want world peace, but so there's no way I can make the impact and go as far as I want to alone. I knew that ever since I was a child. I was never interested in it. Even my leadership style, as I work in my own company and at my personal career, as I lead women, we do it together. I mean, yes, I'm the boss, I'm the last say so, whatever they call it, but it's together. And so when I come into a team, I just show up and I find my tribe. My tribe finds me. We find each other. And so that's the uniqueness I think I want to point out. I don't want to repeat everything that Evelyn said. Yeah, I say that. But in addition to, I'd like to add that you said it too earlier, Deb, is allowing yourself the space to be not only authentic, which is key, which means you're showing up as yourself, showing up in your own purpose, showing up in your own skin, whether you think
you're all your positive of the who you are in a positive manner, not in, well,
yes,
I can't, I don't
what you
know.
bring. Yeah, I don't know. I don't speak very well. I'm telling you, I'm a John Maxwell trained speaker. Roddy Galbraith was my speaker coach, and I still refer back to him.
Mine
but
too.
I don't typically follow a lot of what he's taught me. I think it's going to take a few years to become that, but I never stop speaking.
Right. Well, and that's the authenticity piece, right? And that's the you keep getting out there. Because the thing is that, like, with leadership in business, we don't just arrive. It's a constant. Because if you stop, then you're done, right? So
and seasons change. What doesn't change is your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Your passions might rotate, and so you'd find yourself demonstrating and living your purpose in different ways, but show up in that authenticity and remain there. And I promise you, what you giving off, like Deb said, that positive vibe of confidence is where your tribe finds you and you find your tribe. And the other thing that really puts us as women off kiltered is how sometimes relationships are only for a period of time. I know for me, I am self-inflicted pain because I couldn't understand what. I mean, it didn't matter that she went to the moon. It's just that I didn't have that sister there anymore. And over the past couple of years, I find it pretty easy because I realize if a butterfly is going to live in its purpose, you're gonna have to release it and let it fly to where it goes. And sometimes they come back to where they started, not necessarily, but the freedom of being in relationships with other women comes with you not only understanding yourself, your purpose, living in your authenticity. You said it, you asked in the question, is also allowing yourself to understand that other woman or those other women and their purpose, and allow them to be and embody it and share them and push and promote that. You don't need to get on Facebook and repost everything your good girlfriends post to be the cheerleader. It doesn't really count for nothing.
No, and your identity should not come from that.
Exactly. It's that personal one-on-one interaction. It's the fact that Deb is there with me every Saturday morning after her kickboxing training that she's training people. She's on camera with me. It's the fact that Evelyn, it's 4 p.m. in the afternoon on Saturday in Nigeria, and she's there on set with us too, training and loving on the youths consciously, committedly, and owning who she is and being confident in that. And so my hope, as I always said, at the core of what I do as a person, Alisa Whyte, there's my company and there's also me. There's a difference between us and what we do in our purpose and mission, but mine isn't tied in that, is to inspire women to heal and move past the pain of our past.
So that you can give, because you can't give away what you don't
have. And so then the second tier is to now discover and live your purpose in authenticity. And the third tier is to lead in your own personal life and your professional life. So sometimes as women in our relationships and community, the world, if you watch TV, there's so much negativity in the relationship and the dynamic. You put a bunch of women in a room and you want to put the camera on them all day.
And the sad thing is we buy into it. We buy into it and believe that's how women are. These things,
Do we all have character flaws? Yes, but that's not who we are. Those are moments caught on camera. Who we are is a holistic being.
Yeah, and let's
So
not
my
even
view
get
is,
started with how
let's-
people have to
let's
comment.
yes, let's just throw those images out and think of your sister as you think of yourself.
Mhm.
Embrace her for who she is. Find out how she wants to be talked to, how she wants to be loved. And if we can heal those wounds around ourselves as women and show up in authenticity and power for ourselves and each other,
She's
this
preaching.
world, this world is going to shake. And that is my personal and professional mission. The world is going to shake. I'll tell you, the world is waiting for us to heal our
Mhm.
self-inflicted wounds and our wounds that we inflict on each other as women, and get that trash out of the way and empower and uplift each other
Mhm.
to jump into these positions and sit at the tables where the big decision about our lives, our children's lives, about our families and communities are made. So for me, it's all about healing yourself and then respecting and holding space for every other woman. And then for me, every other human on the planet.
Right. And that respect can come so easily if you just slow down for a moment. And let's be realistic. Let's go back to we're human beings, right? And so there's these perceptions all over the place, but let's bring it back. Let's reel it back in. And if we could be mindful that regardless of the amount of birthdays that we've had, then we tend to behave how we feel. So, and we can disguise it sometimes, but our intuition as women is going to know, like, oh, wait, oh no, they're off. Like if Alyssa's off, I know she's off. But we have that relationship. So it's two things. It's when you're dealing with other people, you fill in the blank. And if they seem a little off or they're a little, guess what? They are. And that's all the more reason that if we're going to show up, when we say show up and treat people the way you want to be treated, obviously, is to understand when they're off. Well, don't treat them like they're off.
Right.
You know,
it's like,
them back
on,
why
right?
are you rolling your eyes today? Or why are you doing this, that, or whatever it is, filling in the blank. And it's like, have compassion and just a little pat on the back. You don't even have to fix it.
No.
Let them know that
that's a whole nother show.
I sense you might be a little off. Is there anything I can do for you? You're going to be okay. And so, and that goes back to the one thing I know I'm super passionate about, and that's that relational leadership. You know, they always say, you know, it's lonely at the top. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be lonely at the top.
Only that way because you made it that way. You created that.
It's not about you. If you're building meaningful and intentional relationships, then you're not going to be alone at the top. And there's that authenticity. So peace out, dropping the mic on that one. I think that we have to wrap up our time together today.
We'll come again.
I feel like we're gonna do something else again. So with that being said, I, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Alisa. Thank you, Evelyn, for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge, clearly your passion. And until we see you next time, thank you so much for watching. I know this is probably a little longer, but it's worth watching. And remember, some things, if you didn't get it, just hit rewind.
Yes.
Rewind.
Hit rewind.
So thank you so much for having us today. Have an incredible rest of your day. And until next time, bye for now.
Bye.